You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Young and the Restless fans, we have got Nick hoping that Sharon and Phyllis will keep playing nice, but there was a recent shift in their dynamic that's a little disturbing. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we are going to talk about how Nick is fooling himself because both Sharon and Phyllis want him back, and a tug of war over the Newman hunk is coming soon. Before we get into it, though, please click subscribe if you're not following us. So after Sharon and Phyllis's kidnapping ordeal at the hands of crazy Martin Laurent, they decided to put all that animosity and the years-long feud behind them. It was great. During their captivity, they were at each other's throats, but then Sharon and Phyllis both had to save each other's lives. So Sharon developed this new respect for Phyllis and vice versa. Sharon was stressed out after what they went through, but Phyllis was the one who's really been struggling with all the trauma. So Sharon had a hard time, but Phyllis is the one who's haunted by these terrible nightmares. Sharon and Phyllis were trying to lean on each other because they're the only two people who know exactly how the other was feeling because they went through the same thing. But then Sharon went off to London with Nick and the kids to visit Noah, and while they were gone, Phyllis was really struggling. She would not admit until recently how much Martin and the kidnapping is still affecting her and that she really needs help. So she's fixating on things. Phyllis is trying to keep her mind occupied, and it's not healthy. Lots of people have noticed. Just recently, though, Phyllis finally admitted to one person that she really needed help, and that person was Nick. And other people have tried. Daniel advised his mom that she needed to face her trauma so she can heal instead of just kind of pushing it all down and pushing forward. Phyllis is clearly spiraling. She needs help. And it seemed like Sharon might be the one who could get through and could really help Phyllis the most because she had the best perspective. But then when Sharon came back from London, things got weird. Nick had brought Phyllis over to the park to talk to her, just try to help her clear her mind and relax when she was at a bad point. And Nick had promised Phyllis that he'll be there for her. But then Sharon happened to stumble across them in the park, and she felt like she'd walked up on something. And Nick could see very clearly that Sharon was jealous. And the other day when she kept grilling Nick, her jealousy of Phyllis being close to Nick, it was visceral. It was palpable, and he said something. And it goes both ways. I do think Phyllis is jealous of Sharon's friendship with Nick. On Phyllis's side, she hasn't said anything about wanting to reunite with Nick romantically. But when Phyllis overheard Nick defending her to Billy in the park, I do think something sparked in her. Nick was going off on Billy, for firing Phyllis from Abbotcom when she was at a low point. And Nick was chastising Billy and said that Phyllis desperately needs a purpose. And then Nick was going on and on about what a wonderful person Phyllis is. And that's when she happened to walk by. So hearing Nick come to her defense and saying these things clearly affected Phyllis. And then she decided to reach out to Nick and accept his offer to be there and to let him help her. But whether or not Phyllis has romance with Nick on her mind remains to be seen. Right now, I would say she doesn't, at least not yet. As for Sharon, though, she's been pining after Nick for quite some time. Sharon's behavior even prompted Nick to bring it up. And this has been, a couple of months ago, I think before the Martin kidnapping. He was saying that it seems like Sharon is always waiting for something to happen between them. Like she's waiting for Nick to kiss her or something. That's what he said to Sharon. But then Nick also made it very clear to Sharon, he only wants to be friends. He doesn't want to risk hurting her again and ruining their friendship. He made it out to be like, oh, it's me, it's not you, And Nick also said that that's his same feeling about Phyllis. He likes where they're at. Everybody's in the friend zone. But come on. Nick is kidding himself if he thinks Sharon and Phyllis are going to get along long term. And it already seems like whatever friendship that they were starting to forge is already fizzling. And it seems like it's because of how they both feel about Nick. Sharon definitely didn't want to be just friends with Nick. And as for Phyllis, she says that's what she wants, but let's face it, if Nick plays hero for her, Phyllis may start to fall for him because she's in this emotionally precarious place. And in the end, both of these ladies are probably going to want to be with Nick. So here's how it might go. Phyllis and Sharon might each make a move to get closer to Nick in a more personal way, romantic, intimate, something like that. And they're going to be back to picking at each other. Phyllis is definitely unhinged right now. She honestly does need help. Sharon has no excuse because she's in a good place. She's stable right now. Nobody's drugging her. She's not hallucinating Cameron Kirsten or anything. You know, I would say Sharon's probably in the best place she's been in a while. But for some reason, she's fixated on Nick. And a lot of Young and the Restless fans think that she was way out of line with Phyllis in the park. And Nick even questioned Sharon and accused her of being jealous of Phyllis. Sharon tried to brush it off, but it's clear, yeah, jealous. So I think even though Nick friend-zoned her several times, Sharon may soon make a blatant play to get with Nick. Meanwhile, he's trying to help Phyllis because she needs it. But the more he helps her, the more it's probably going to bother Sharon. And it's unfortunate because it was kind of nice to see that Phyllis and Sharon's bickering had stopped. It was something new for them because it was kind of exhausting. But with no love interest in sight for Nick or for Sharon or for Phyllis, you got to wonder what the Y&R writers have planned for these three. With no romantic leads in town for any of them, no prospects, really no guys at loose ends, not that are age appropriate or anything like that, you know, are they going to leave these three longtime characters at loose ends with no one to warm their beds? Or are we heading for another go-round of Sharon and Nick and Phyllis in a triangle that we've seen more than once? I do suspect Nick is about to find himself in a very uncomfortable position, stuck in a tug of war, fending off advances from both Sharon and Phyllis and jealous tantrums from both of his exes. Is he going to be able to say no thank you to both of them? Are they going to take no for an answer? Me personally, I'd actually like to see him back with Sally Spectra and her out of the orbit of unpredictable and erratic Billy Abbott. Now, that might be fun if that happened, because then Sharon and Phyllis would probably both go after Sally. Now, that I might watch. I might watch Nick being with her and the two ladies coming after them. But I don't want to see him like a worn-out chew toy being yanked between those two. But I feel like that's where it's going.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.